channeling session. Erin Moran. If you don't know who she is, she's the little girl that was on Happy Days. And I was looking around on the internet last night and went into Scott Baio, and then she popped out and she wanted to talk. So we're going to channel her. She's just, it's kind of funny because one of my grandmothers on my father's side always said that her and I looked alike. Um, I think she was on Happy Days at age 13, and her and I actually do look really similar. We have the freckles and the large eyes and the curly hair. And I was looking at my pictures at my age and her age, and we're extremely similar looking. We could have passed for sisters. And she is here. She has this huge smile. She has this big smile. She's very happy. Very bouncy, very positive, very delightful, um, and just extremely excited to be able to do this. Here's Erin Moran. Hi, everybody. This is Erin. Wow, it's been a long time. Been a very long time. Very excited. I'm very thankful for this vessel that allows me to do this. I've come to her a couple times, and either she didn't recognize me or she was not doing celebrities, but she's allowed me to come forth, which I'm so excited about. Um, and she just said that I could talk, so I just want to talk. I had a very troublesome childhood. It was very confusing because I went to work at a very young age as a child actress, and things were a little bit better there than my home life. And there's a lot of disturbance in my home life. Um, and I saw a lot of abuses, and I received some abuse in my home life. It was very perplexing to me. It was. And then when I would go on set, things would be better. I would be happy. I'd be able to play with other kids if they were on the set. They made me all pretty, and I was very intuitive, and I was very wise at a very young age. I was very smart. I was able to learn my lines and memorize them, so I was very smart. Um, I wish I would have stayed that way, but I started out that way, that I was very, very good at what I was doing. So it's what I knew. And then my schooling was pretty much from on on sets. We would take time off, and I would have to do my schoolwork, and so that's kind of how I didn't go to school with a bunch of children all the time. Sometimes I did go into some of the schools, but not really that much because I was working, because my parents needed me to work, because they needed me to bring home the money, and that's what I did. Um, there was, um, I don't usually talk about this, but there was a little abuse on one of the sets. I was 5 or 6, and there was an older actor, and he liked me sitting on his lap. And he did some things that I told Robin about, but I don't want to share it here. So I had some abuse at home, and then I started having some abuse on the movie sets, and that was very uh, hurtful to me. It was very confusing to me, and that's when I started to lose myself. It didn't happen all the time, but this one show I was on, um, I think this older actor, I don't want to say his name, but he did, it was pretty much almost every, um, after, how do I say it? It was almost every, at least once a week or twice a week, I had to, there were some things that would happen to me, um, which is very sad, which changed my life. That's when I really changed my life. You know, a lot of people come from hard homes and you survive it. And I could have survived that, but then things started happening to me at the movie set. I had a director, a producer that also, um, at a very young age, I learned about a lot of things. I saw a lot of things that a little girl probably shouldn't have seen because they were grooming me for a Hollywood life, and that entails a lot of other things. You people should know to never put your children in Hollywood. Please know that. You might look glamorous, but it will destroy their lives. I will just say that to you. It's not something that you talk about because I wanted to stay working in Hollywood. And how do you think by the age of 13 I received such a great role as on Happy Days? Out of thousands and thousands of girls that um, they hired or were looking at, I made it because I had a reputation. And that reputation was that I was smart and I was a good worker and I was dependable, I was clean, and I also knew the other side of Hollywood. And if it didn't happen, I knew how to keep my mouth shut. And so they wanted that makes you a good actress. Um, a lot of the abuse did stop during Happy Days when I was on Happy Days. And it was the family I've always been looking for, which is kind of weird. It's a fake family, but you get to know these people and you become close to them and they become close to you and they see your weaknesses and your insecurities and they help you to be the best person that you can be. When I turned 15, though, um, and when Scott Baio came into my life, they pushed us two together because they thought we were cute together. Um, we did have a relationship early on. I also had a relationship with one of the other cast members in my teen years, which I'm not going to say who it was, but that's when I lost my virginity. Was between both of those two men. And it was a fun time. It was a great time. I'm not saying anything bad about it. It was great. I cared for both of them. I had a hard time loving. I didn't know love. I didn't understand love. And I think that came from being abused at a very young age. It was sex. I knew sex, and I knew caring, and I knew pleasing, and I knew to please myself, but I didn't know love, um, which is unfortunate. And then I started getting involved in some things. There was always drugs, opportunity to have drugs. I started small. And then as I grew older and became more sexual with a lot more people, I was very open about my sexuality and became open about drugs. And so I was willing to experiment, and it gave me a high euphoria that I've never experienced before, and escapism was through alcoholism. Um, and that is just because I came from parents that were addicts, and then I became an addict. So that's just kind of par for the course, don't you think? Um, I when I became on drugs, and it became small and then it grew larger and I thought I can control it, but then you realize that it's starting to control you. And I started losing my intelligence. I started getting depression after I came down off the highs. Then you have a deep, deep, deep low, and they call it depression. Well, it's really because of the drugs. And I couldn't get a job. I I tried to sleep my way through getting work, and it wasn't working because I think I was becoming kind of out there. My mind was out there. I was becoming kind of a little bit of insanity, and I was neurotic and narcissistic and all of these things. And as you can tell, I talk very fast, and that's just who I am. I always have talked very fast. I never was a loss for words, and that's why I became a good actress on Happy Days, I think. Um, so as my time moved off of Happy Days, I had a problem finding work, which is normal for those that start in Hollywood at a very young age and then they age out because then they're not cute anymore. I tried to go sexy and I wasn't sexy. As you look at some of my photos, I'm still cute, trying to be sexy. You can see it. It wasn't real, it wasn't raw, and it really wasn't who I am. I was a good girl. I portrayed a good girl because I looked the good girl. Um, but in Hollywood, that got lost. That just there's no place for me. There was no shows at that time that were for me, and because I aged out of Hollywood, which is normal. And I know Robin's dad, Bobby Hyatt, he did the same thing. He was probably, I think he was like 20 something when he aged out of Hollywood, and he went into being um, a screenwriter and produced some films and things like that. I should have went into a part of Hollywood. I could have done things without acting, been behind the scenes. I could have done many things on sets, which would have been fabulous for me. But I did not take those opportunities. I had guidance from many of my cast members from Happy Days to get on certain shows that I could help at and be behind the scenes at and maybe in front of the scenes at, and I just chose not to do that because of the drugs and my insecurity. I just knew acting. Um, I wasn't willing to learn other things. I was too insecure. You know, when you're narcissistic and insecure, it's very bad, and on drugs, it's a very bad mix, and alcohol. I then progressed into um, growing up and becoming a middle aged person, which was extremely hard for me. And my looks started dying. And my looks started dying because I was a avid heavy smoker, heavy drinker, couldn't afford drugs very much, so did the best I could on that. But also, I just subsided myself with alcohol and smoking. My cancer came from a lot of the neglect I took on my body, and Scott Baio was right on that. That I neglected my body. Your body is a temple, and I did not understand that. I went with the mindset of all the bad things that happened to me, and I try to remember the good things, but where was everybody? So here I am having a successful TV show for 10 years, and then everybody went away and left me, and that was hard. And so I just absorbed into insecurities and self deprecation and bad self talk about who I was. So Scott Baio was right. He shouldn't have said what he said. Um, he should have not speculated, but he was right. He knows it because he was there and he's done it himself. So he was able to pull himself out of his abuses, and at an earlier age than he survived longer in Hollywood. Women have a hard time when they start aging out. Women have a little bit harder time keeping in the Hollywood scale of things because that's just the way Hollywood is. They like fresh new faces, cute faces, sexy faces, things like that. Uh, let's see. So let me go to when I was having issues and coughing, and I was coughing up blood, and that's when I found out I had cancer. I I didn't do drugs because I couldn't afford drugs. So yes, it's true that there was no drugs in my system because I had no drugs. I did have marijuana um, that people in the parks would give to me, and that was the most I did. I drank a lot. A lot. My mind was gone by then. Yeah, I with all the abuse and things, my mind was gone. I had almost like a schizophrenic personality, and I was very eager to anger. And I think the drugs and the alcoholism was changing my capacity of my mind and making me a very horrible person. As I look upon who I was, that was not me. That was a product delivered from heavy drug use and alcoholism. And I really apologize that you all had to see me go down like that. It's such a slighted thing that I didn't realize how bad I was. And I didn't realize how bad I looked. I thought I looked the same uh, because I wouldn't look at pictures of myself. And then you all saw it. You all saw it. I had a couple members of the Happy Days gang and a producer that did try to help me. Um, but I was too angry and it was too late. And I told them where to go. And that was that. That was the end of all those relationships. And Robin asked me if I was ever attracted to Fonzie. No. He was a nice man, but I saw who he really was, and I didn't care for him. He was nice, but I didn't care for him. And then Ron Howard, he was nice too. He helped me a lot. He helped me with some of my lines. He helped me how I should deliver some of my lines and the situation, which was very helpful. He was very kind, but he was very standoffish with me, as he was with a lot of the cast. Even though we were all very close, he and Fonzie were very standoffish because I think they know they were going other places, and Happy Days was a step in the right direction for them, and they got their money through Happy Days. Yes, and the kindest ones were the ones that weren't as popular. We'll put it that way. So when I died, let me talk to you about that. Oh, it was great. It was a release. My life was such a misery. It was really a misery. I was misguided. I just was lost. I was lost my whole life. And I was looking for love, but I didn't know what it was. And I had a little craziness about me. And when people self-medicate, it's usually because they have something wrong with them. And I did. And a bipolar, manic depressant, yeah, all these things were part of my soul and or my body. And my soul was good and kind, and it was just misguided. There was too much misguidedness. I could not hear my soul. I could not hear my angels. I could not hear any of that, and I didn't believe any of it. And I would drown it out with alcohol or drugs, so it was just not a part of me. But when I died, that's when I found myself. Um, my death was planned. I'm going to say that. It was planned. I wanted to die on that day. My husband stayed by me as my body died. Yeah. And it's okay. I was suffering greatly. It was very painful, and I didn't want to live anymore. And it just became too much suffering. And I had so much suffering, and then to have the pain in your body so strong, I didn't want that. And so this is where Hollywood comes in, is when um, actors, even though they're past their prime, Hollywood covers things up. And so there was a lot of stuff in my system that they did not put down. They just said I died of cancer. Just like Robin's dad. They put down that he died of cancer, and that's not how he died. And Robin found out how he passed away when she received his death certificate, which was quite a shock for her. But that's Hollywood. So Hollywood just said that her birth father died of cancer, which is, as she knows, is not true. And that's what Hollywood does. And even though he was part of Hollywood, but not of the big Hollywood, Hollywood just covers things up. That's what your managers are for. I haven't seen my parents. I haven't cared to. They're at a different. I have soared. I want you to know, once I crossed over and I saw who I was and got out of the sorrows of that body of earth life, I soared. I went straight up. I accepted everything. I loved everything. I remembered who I was, and I am an angel of God. And I am here now. I protect children. That is my calling, as I come down and I protect children. I'm not a guide, but in certain circumstances I can be a peacemaker. I can be at peace because I have an understanding of how to calm souls. And that is my job now. It's always been my job. I wish I could have done it on earth. I wish I could have seen the avenue I was supposed to take on earth, where I was to not sustain my drug use and alcoholism and refocus myself on the children of Hollywood, because I went through it. I could have been an advocate for them, a fighter for them, and there could have been a lot less of those young people harmed by the Hollywood regime. And I call it a regime because it is. There's a lot of sexual predators in Hollywood. There's sexual predators of your children, of your babies, of your teenagers, of anybody. There's sexual predators. And some of them are sick. I mean, it's sick. So now I'm an angel, and I work on helping to protect. Your world, wow, I am kind of glad I'm not here right now, because look at what's happened to the United States. It is falling apart. It is crumbling. This is very unfortunate for you. It's very unfortunate what you have to go through right now. But it's bringing strength into your souls. You're learning lessons here. And God is weeding out the good and the strong from the weak and the followers that follow. He doesn't want the followers. He wants those that strive against all odds to make correct choices, to ask Him to make correct choices. Ask Him if it's right. He will tell you, and then He will protect you. That's what He wants. That's why this COVID thing is here. That's why your mandates are here. Have you asked Him what is right? Have you asked Him what's right for you and your body? And then He'll protect you. Things may still happen, but He will protect you. You will not crumble. But now He sees, definitely, the followers of society. So it helps Him see clearly. I think that's all I wanted to say. Robin said I only had 15 minutes, so I'm very happy to be able to speak. I know this isn't her. I don't know. I know she doesn't talk like this. And she's a very slow talker, and I'm a very fast talker. And when I get very excited, I just can't help it. And I'm so happy to be here. For those children that are in Hollywood, those children that are suffering, I am here. Call upon my name. It is still Erin, and I will protect you. And I will guide you. Because children are the easiest to guide, because their minds are so open. I just don't want the cruelty anymore to children. I don't want people, adults, to change their lives forever. I don't want them to bring the darkness to the children. I think that's it. Is that the darkness starts coming upon the children. And the children don't know what to do with that darkness. Because they're ill-equipped. Nor should they even have to think about what to do with that darkness. Think about that. It's time to save the children. It's time to protect the children. You have another darkness coming at your children right now. And it's something that you're going to put into your children that is mandated by an evil regime. You're going to harm your child because you think you're doing what's right. The children don't need this. This is not for the children. If anything, it's for people like my age, Robin's age, if anybody was to take it. This vessel, Robin's pretty protected. And she's preparing her body correctly. If she does get this thing that by, RUS, she will be okay because she has strengthened her body inside. And she can have those help her for blessings. Trust me that the thing that you put in your arm is devised by the lower levels. That's all I'm going to say about that. Then it's for you to decide because it's your choice. If you feel comfortable, it's up to you. Life will be a little challenging for those that do not accept the thing they put in their arm, but they will always be fed and somehow taken care of because God will see the chosen people that fight for their temple. They fight for the right to choose. And there's good people that have done it, that have taken the thing in their arm. They're good people, just misguided or scared. But there will become a time where you're going to have to be strong. You're going to have to make a choice. Who do you follow? Who do you follow? That's what it comes down to, you guys. That's what this life is all about. Who do you follow? Your soul speaks to you. Listen. Quiet your mind. Listen. Because you are good. You began in good, born upon an evil planet. Why do you think you're here? You're here to drive the evil back. This is the most evil you've ever seen in your whole lives. We thought the World War IIs, all the World War Is were evil. Yes, they were evil. This is a silent evil. This is a heavy killer of people all over the world, just like a war. Treat it just like a war. Defend your families just like a war. You are at war. You are at war with the evil regime. Open your eyes and see it, because it is here. And it is strong. So now you need to band together and become stronger. Stop being weak. Stop seeing. Or stop not seeing, I guess I should say. Stop turning the other cheek. You gotta face it head on. And you gotta be a warrior. And you gotta be complete about it. You can't be wishy-washy. You need to be strong in your convictions. No matter what comes at you, let it. Put your shield up. Say shields up, and you will be protected. Trust me, I have seen it. I see a lot of things on this side. And it's all good. Be forthright in your judgments, in your words. Be honest and true, for that's where you need to be. All right, I think I'm done. I think we're done. I miss you all. I love you all. Thank you for still caring about me. Thank you for listening here. Let this vessel shine. I ask a blessing upon all of you that have chosen right and this vessel. I ask a special blessing upon her and her life, for I've seen her life as it's moving forward. And it's going to bring great peace to her. And she's going to help so many people and guide them. And she's going to be able to bring words down from heaven to you, which is very exciting for her and you. And so she is in the right place at the right time, and she will move forward from this place at this time forward. Bye, everyone. Bye. This is Erin Moran signing off, but never going away.